Neo-Evolutionism. Neo-Evolutionism means modern school of evolution. Neo means modern evolutionism, and this came into existence in the 20th century. See, these neo-evolutionists are not ready to accept that cultural evolution through uniformed or formalized stages like savagery, barbarism and civilization. They oppose this unilineal sequence of cultural evolution. So what is unilineal sequence of cultural evolution? Savagery, barbarism, civilization. So this is unilineal sequence according to classical evolutionists. But according to neo-evolutionists, this is not the case. So they are opposing this unilineal sequence. They also rejected this usage of crude terms like savagery and barbarism because they are looking crude. So neo-evolutionists are against this particular concept. So please write. You have written this, no, modern and 20th century. Please write. Neo-evolutionists are not ready to accept unilineal sequence of cultural development through formalized stages, savagery, barbarism and civilization. They also rejected the usage of the crude terms like crude terms like savagery, and barbarism. In place of unilineal sequence, neo-evolutionists proposed a parabolic form of cultural development. Parabolic form is this one. Unilinear sequence is this one. You get my point? So in place of this, they have given. No, we'll try to understand this one. So this is parabolic form. So this is the first stage of cultural development. This is the second stage or mid stage, first stage or primitive stage. And this is the third stage or the final stage, or you can say is the most advanced stage. The features of this first stage, if you see, listen, in this stage man was food gatherer, hunter and nomadic. In this stage sex was promiscuous, or irregular, no clothes, so naked, man was consuming raw food, and property was communally held. That means community property. So sex was irregular, naked, was eating raw food, and property was communally held, isn't it? But in second stage, all these social institutions developed into an entirely different form. Here sex was institutionalized, or you can say sex became regular because marriage as a social institution came into existence. Started wearing clothes, and then started eating cooked food, due to invention of fire. Individual property came into existence. That means a social institution is born in a specific way, developed into an entirely different one, and then in the final stage or the most advanced stage, the social institution is somewhat in a stage which is either a slightly modified one or in the stage of primitive one. Say for example, now here listen to this one, which is the most advanced, the third stage. Sex again became promiscuous because of the concept of freedom of sex. Again, nudity and semi-nudity in the name of crazy notions of fashion. Started eating raw and semi-cooked food in the name of health. community development programs you can see for conservation of environment or other aspects. So you can see that this third stage is somewhat similar to first stage, but in a slightly modified form, or maybe in the same form also, but in a slightly modified. So that is why this figure is a parabolic curve of Neo-Evolutionism. You are able to understand? According to Neo-Evolutionists, a social institution is born in a specific form then develops into a totally different form and finally evolves into a form similar to the first stage or primitive stage. You get my point. So this is the first one where they opposed unilineal sequence and in form of it the proposed parabolic curve. They abandoned usage of crude words, savagery and barbarian. See, when it came to understanding of cultural evolution, neo-evolutionists were not ethnocentrically biased. They explored several other aspects like energy, technology, economic activities, etc. in order to explain cultural evolution. So you can write, neo-evolutionists were not ethnocentrically biased when it came to understanding of cultural evolution. They explored various aspects like economy, energy, technology, environment, in understanding cultural development. development. Unlike classical evolutionists, Neo-Evolutionists did not equate cultural evolution always towards progress. According to Neo-Evolutionists, some aspects of primitive societies are much better than modern societies. Cultural ecological framework of Neo-Evolutionists, cultural ecological framework of Neo-Evolutionists has become a sophisticated area of research not only in anthropology but also other disciplines. So this cultural ecological framework was a concept given by Julian Steward, which we will be seeing tomorrow. So these are the salient features of Neo-Evolutionism, and this is how Neo-Evolutionism is different from classical evolutionism. See, earlier we have seen that this Neo-Evolutionism based on the nationalities classified into two types, British and American school of thought. In British school of thought we have G.V. Childe and all others like Leslie A. White, Julian Steward, Marshall Sahlins, Elman Service, all these come under American. That we have already seen. Here we can see a classification which is different from the earlier one, where we classify these schools of thought based on the concepts proposed by these anthropologists. You get my point? First one is universalism or universal evolutionism. It is also known as, or these theories are also known as general theory of evolution, because they explained cultural development or evolution on a global scale rather than local scale. So they applied stages of cultural development uniformly to all cultures. So that is what is known as general theory or universal evolutionism. And the proponents of this school of thought, we can write Gordon V. Childe, and Leslie Alvin White. Next school of thought is parallelism. or multilineal evolutionism or multilinealism. This is also known as specific theory because they consider local rather than global, and why cultural differences exist in different societies. So it is known as specific theory of evolution or specific theory of evolutionism. The proponent of this particular theory is Julian. Steward. Now, the drawbacks in universalism and multilinealism, that is general theory and specific theory, were bridged by Sahlins and Service, who clubbed both these to form general and specific theory of evolution. And the proponents of this particular theory is Marshall Sahlins, and Element Service. Now, Gordon v. Childe belongs to Britain School of Thought, and all others are American School. So, why general theory of evolution? Because they applied cultural evolution on a global scale rather than local scale. So, this is explaining local than global. General, specific. Yes, done. Put the side heading Gordon v. Childe. He is the only pioneer of British School of Neo-Evolutionism. He was a well-trained archaeologist who conducted his study in Middle East, archaeological study in Middle East and some parts of Europe. He replaced stages of cultural evolution or stages in cultural evolution or development. He replaced stages of cultural evolution or development by archaeological terms. In his book Social Evolution, published in 1951, he presented his evolutionary scheme of culture. He explained cultural evolution in terms of three major events which are invention of food, urbanization, and industrialization. According to him, culture developed not in three stages but in four stages. They are Paleolithic, Neolithic, Copper Age, and Early Bronze Age. See, he equated Paleolithic with savagery. He equated Neolithic with lower and middle. barbarism, equated copper age with upper barbarism, and early bronze age with civilization. So these are the stages of cultural development given by L.H. Morgan, isn't it? Just now we have seen, isn't it? So what would be the features of these, isn't it? Well, you will write the features of we can draw a separate table and write the features of savagery, lower and middle barbarism, upper barbarism corresponding to Paleo, Neo, Copper and early Bronze Age. So draw a table and write stages and features. Draw a table and write stages and features. So savagery, what all we have written: man was food gatherer, hunter, nomadic, invention of speech, you can write subsistence on fruits and nuts, total life spent on food collection, making crude rock tools, then fishing, fowling, fire, then bow and arrow technique. That is all the features of lower, middle and upper barbarism you have to write in Paleolithic. In Neolithic, lower and middle. So in lower barbarism, what we have seen, pottery came into existence, storage of water and irrigational facilities, storage of water and food grains, and then middle barbarism, domestication of plants and animals led to agriculture and pastoralism. In upper barbarism, you can write villages came into city, and you can also write some metallurgical knowledge and usage of metal tools. Here, these villages became towns and cities, isn't it? And then trade and commerce developed, alphabet, script, literature, and then scientific and technological advancement. So please write stages. You write this Paleolithic and copy from the earlier one. Copy from earlier one. Now, he explained these in terms of three major equations. What are the invention of food, then urbanization, and then industrialization, isn't it? So please write. When man was a food gatherer, hunter and nomadic, he was less aggressive towards nature and the environment, isn't it? Because he was only using his own thing, but he was only hunting and gathering food. But after invention of food, that is because of domestication of plants and animals that led to agriculture and pastoralism, man became more and more aggressive towards environment. In the later stages like urbanization and industrialization, we have seen with the development of some metallurgical knowledge and usage of metal tools, these villages became towns and cities, isn't it? And then that is what is urbanization. Industrialization, yes, in early Bronze Age, after alphabet, script, literature, you can see trade and commerce flourished. There were a number of scientific and technological advancements which would have led to industrialization. So by this time, human being became more and more aggressive towards environment. So less aggressive, more aggressive. Yes or no? Please write. According to G.V. Childe, In Paleolithic age, human being was less aggressive towards environment. But after domestication of plants and animals, which led to agriculture and pastoralism, a nomadic man became sedentary. Villages came into existence, became sedentary. Villages came into existence. A food gatherer became a food producer. Therefore, Gordon V. Childe states that Neolithic age is the first revolutionary phase in the history of mankind. Later, due to metallurgical knowledge, these villages became towns and cities, which led to urbanization. Alphabets, script, literature enabled them to store and record the knowledge and culture. Scientific and technological advancements led to industrialization. As a result, human being has become more aggressive towards environment. That led to exploitation of natural resources. third, this is the theory of God and we child. Criticism, you can write criticism of God and we child. He relied heavily on archaeological data. This is the first point of criticism. He has relied heavily on archaeological data. And number 2, he did not show any interest in cultures outside Middle East and Europe. Number 3, he also did not consider explaining some universal social institutions like marriage, family, kinship, etc.